Right, everyone ready? Yeah. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bazinga!
Let's go.
Good luck, runners.
Have fun, everyone.
This is going to be a good time. So everybody, you should be familiar with how these things go. We've got Angel Island to start off with. Hoping that the other runners will set off on the set. Yeah, there we go. So we might have a little bit of delay with who's starting and who's a little bit behind. I hope you enjoy the Amy in the top left. Obviously, there's something with the chroma, so we've got a black Amy. But,
there we are. Return to normal. I'm back again. I'm gonna run this coloured Amy there, but it's fine. It's still playing the same. So both. I'm used to commentating two runners here. All three of the runners get into the first sort of mini boss at the same time, making their way up to the boss of the first act. Very simple boss, 6 hits and done. Not really much to it, and that is Terravin finishing first, with Huds shortly behind Terravin and RPG a very close third.
Extra life is for me.
So one thing, I probably zoned out when Huds was introducing it. His introductions do go on for a long time, and I'm sure people can agree with me on that. But
they absolutely
New
do.
Game Plus and Amy's abilities, they're quite a package. You can jump super high with her hammer jump. The little gliding that she can do, swinging the hammer, it's incredibly overpowered when it comes to using Hyper Amy. So this game is going to be even faster, even though this is glitchless. We're not going to be doing any fancy wraps, any fancy zips, but well, unless one of the runners, decides to go a little bit fancy. But they'll be avoiding that at the very least.
I mean, they could be using the superior character Knuckles. What would you say on that, Ibs?
I'd feel inclined to agree.
Yeah.
Quite honest.
I'd highly recommend anyone give Amy a try, though, because as a character in this, she is extremely fun to use, especially in a hyper form. Generally, Sonic 3 Air, it's very easy to get hold of a 100% save file if you don't feel like grinding the game yourself, and you can then run a New Game Plus pretty much immediately. So that's Terravin finishing the boss first. And Huds, and again, RPG coming in close third. Terravin coming into Hydro. Definitely one of the more fun stages. A lot of platforming here, but it's also a very short stage.
Huds has accidentally gone into Marble Garden Zone instead of Hydro. That's an interesting situation, but you'll notice that both of us have avoided addressing Hydro by its full name. We don't like to full name people here, so as to avoid any.
We don't want to start this debate in the comments.
No, but it is Hydrosity.
It is Hydrosity. Thank you, Huds. I'd say that's a majority vote. I think anyone who says Hydrosity are wrong. Yeah.
How dare both of you?
And Terravin already finishing the boss. RPG at the boss, and Huds also at the boss around about the same time. That menuing mistake costing Huds second place there at the moment. Terravin into Hydro 2, making light work of the escaping the wall that closes in on you. Trying to make this early cycle here, just misses it. That's fine. You only have to wait another 3 seconds for it to come down again.
Yeah, it's very much a race against time, isn't it?
So I know Huds, if he was on commentary, would be eager to explain how the cycles work in this level. So I'm going to go ahead and do that for you. So if you land on that very first platform at, say, 20 seconds, they work in 3-second increments, so you can use the maps there to work out on the very last platform that you get to before the boss, roughly where it's going to be on the right-hand side. So if that bottom platform is there at 20 seconds, you get to the next one at, say, 2 minutes 20, then you know that platform's going to be in the same place. So exercising what Huds likes to call quick math in working out where your platforms are, Terravin just going for the pause trick there instead because he can't do maths.
Bless him, it's like 5:30 in the morning.
Yeah, this is true. This is true.
Like
He
6:30,
has
I
been
think.
up all night. He has been up all night. So there is, in terms of awareness, Terravin might be a little bit sleepy when it comes to things, but he does have the advantage over the runners in terms of PBs, I believe.
And that's Terravin done with the boss. He'll be going into Marble Garden 1. Definitely one of the less fun stages, in my opinion.
It looks like a fun one to do well, in honesty. Like,
Yeah.
it's hard to maneuver around, but I think nailing it.
Yeah, once you get good at it, it's fine, but it's just one of the harder stages to optimize.
So we see that every so often they are trying to make an effort to go to the big rings in some of these stages so that they can instantly get 50 rings and quickly activate their hyper abilities.
And as you'll notice on HUD's screen, followed by RPGs, they'll be taking Tails route using Amy's hammer jump because it gives her enough height when she's hyper to be able to do so. So a lovely shortcut that saves roughly about 20 seconds. Terravin already at the boss there. Terravin's on very good pace at the moment. Considering he's been up basically all night, bless him.
Nice 70 seconds. HUD's not too far behind, and neither is RPG. Bearing in mind that there was a slight delay, there was a slight stagger to how the runner started, so HUD's might just be a couple of seconds ahead in terms of starting. But RPG and HUD's, I mean, ignore me. Just pretend that it's a really close race between those two at the moment because they are doing very well, very tight. Terravin seems to be sort of not running away with it yet. Anything can happen.
Yeah, in terms of their PBs, RPG and HUDs are very close as runners anyway. HUD's recently reclaiming second spot on the speedrun.com leaderboards for this particular category. Terravin is the current world record holder, and he claimed world record at a previous race.
Yes, indeed. So he was recently, well, all three of these runners, plus Nacho, another speedrunner of Sonic 3 Air, they got to show off this game on Sonic and the Side Quests on GDQ, and they, instead of doing, well, side quests, the nature of it was to do all emeralds. So they knew the strats for the blue spheres, and yeah, that was a fun race. And Terravin knows how to perform on a marathon. He knows how to perform in a race. So potential world record, you never know. You never know. Yeah. We can't see his splits, but I'm sure he's doing well regardless.
All of our runners have been a very clean run so far. I've not seen any big mistakes yet from anyone.
It's all been looking smooth from all ends. As you can see, Amy's very overpowered in the air. She can just fly anywhere.
Yep.
As you do. I'm finding a little paraglider.
HUD's and RPG still very neck and neck, it seems, at the moment. At least on screen. At least on screen. I'm not sure about real time because we can't see the splits for all of our runners, but so Terravin making his way through Carnival Night 1 here, making a specific route to make use of getting as many rings as possible so you don't have to stop for this big ring here. And therefore getting a quicker time than you usually would.
I'm really glad that you took the lead with that one because I was full on about to call this Casino Night, which it certainly isn't. Completely different game. So thank you for that.
That's okay. That's okay. I got you, Amy. I got you.
You got me. So this boss, the spinning top, or is there another name for this boss?
There is, but we're not allowed to say it on stream.
So it should be quite straightforward. You can find yourself in a very sticky position with this boss as the... I don't know why you're laughing, Teach. I think you're reading into things a little bit too much. But
Me? No, never.
the spinning top can find itself out of place and it not bouncing against the wall on the right. So it can sort of be flying around the stage, and they want to be getting through this boss as quick as they can, and it seems like both of the runners have done nicely with it.
Can I just point out, the other two are deafened right now and can't hear any of this commentary. I'm at a significant disadvantage of having to listen to these two right now.
Oh, Huds, you're the one with the controller in your hand. Isn't that what you always say to us?
Yeah, that's true, I suppose.
You don't need to listen to us, Hans.
Exclamation mark, blame Huds.
There we go, a brief cameo from Knuckles. We'll be seeing him later on.
Yeah, the best character. Yeah. We'll break out the red carpet for Knucks later.
Now, a little bit of underwater section for Terravin. The chances of any of these runners drowning in here are very slim, but it's a little bit of a fight against how the water comes down. So it will be coming down at some point, but it shouldn't be too much to worry about on his end.
There's a very scary part about halfway through this underwater section where there's a small chance of a crush death against these two barrels. You'll see them on Huds' screen in a second. If they're just even remotely on a difficult cycle, it can be difficult to navigate them without getting... And Huds does it cleanly.
Very nice.
And Terravin at the Barrel of Doom, as we like to call it, affectionately named for all the kids who played this game who never knew how to navigate that barrel.
Absolute hell.
So an interesting thing for everyone to be aware of is that you're going to see it in a second when we meet Knuckles again, the ability for us to skip the cutscene. The skip cutscene button is the same button that de-transforms Amy from hyper back to normal. So we found in the latest preview, which is what we're running now, that if we hold that button for too long, it will de-transform her. So we're all having to be very careful at the end here as to exactly how much of the cutscene we skip so we don't accidentally de-transform, because it makes the boss so hard with Amy.
Yeah, Amy unfortunately doesn't have enough height on her normal jump without hyper in order to hit Robotnik before he descends to pick up his big green ball, which does make him very difficult. And he has specific spots on him as well that if you hit him, you just take damage. Terravin making his way through Ice Cap 1. Probably one of the better stages in the game. I find this stage just pretty much plays itself.
Interestingly, if we just take a look at RPG, I think he might have lost his hyper, so he has ended that stage quite a bit behind, and I think Huds might be in second place at this point.
Oh.
That'll be a nasty bit of time loss.
I didn't see that, but RPG can still make it up. He's not too far behind at the moment. I'd say he's roughly about 10 seconds behind Huds at the moment. So it's not the end of the world. There's still all to play for between the three runners. Terravin well ahead at the moment, but Hud's keeping the pressure on him, keeping him honest.
Nice. Good grief. And Terravin getting through the swing section very nicely. There's something, I don't know, there's something therapeutic about this level. And the way that you move through it. I think you can say that for a lot of the Sonic 3 levels. There's still, there's a lot to like about Sonic 3. There's a reason why everybody holds the original game and this game in quite high regard. Yeah,
the levels have a really good flow to them. And they're not super linear like the previous two Sonic games. I'm not sure about CD because I didn't play too much of that. So I couldn't tell you about the level design on that one. But Sonic 1 and Sonic 2. Sorry, Huds?
I was going to say, keep an eye out for Terravin. He's going to be taking the bottom route in Ice Cap 2 as I am. It's a brand new route that we found in the last couple of weeks. It's around about 8 seconds faster, but it's incredibly difficult.
Yeah, the movement is very precise through this route. You have to change to hyper at a specific point through the loop in order to maximize your momentum. and still keep the rings that you need as well.
It's interesting, TG, you're talking about level sort of layout and structure between the games, and you weren't sure about CD. I think Sega actually gave up when they got to the to Sonic CD. They just thought, let's just throw some springs in there and see if we can find the layout.
I played Collision Chaos. I didn't want to bring it up. I played as far as Collision Chaos and hated it.
Right.
Oh, and HUD's taking a death. Oh no. This is exactly what we were talking about. The movement in that is so precise. But if you don't get that like exactly right to get the jump and the hammer twirl, then that is what happens.
Back at the start of the level, so that means that things have changed, have switched around with second and third place.
Interesting thing to note. So you'll see that Terravin is in Launch Base 1, and he's taken Tails' route through the elevator here. And that's because Amy takes up Tails' slot in the character slots. So any routes that Tails has, which you get taken to by default, Amy will also get taken to by default as well.
Also, whilst we're here and talking about Amy and the slot that she takes up, there are various other character mods that we have in Sonic 3 Air. We have Metal Sonic, we have Mighty. I feel like there are probably more. I believe there is a Shadow mod on the way. Some very nice work on the sprite work.
There's the glitches one with Bluckles, Ashura, and Wekmir.
Yes. The original trio. Everybody remembers them.
Exactly. Right. So another appearance from our king on Terravin's screen.
Salute.
We're not worthy.
The runners are not worthy.
No, they're not. They're not worthy of the red boy. I noticed Huds is wearing a red T-shirt in honor of our hero Nux.
Interesting. No pink from any of these runners. They obviously don't actually like this character at all.
No. And oh wow, that's Launch Base 1 over and done with from Terravin already. That man is flying through this at the moment.
So a quick restart to get around the checkpoint easily. Checkpoint? What am I saying? Cutscene.
Terravin will be looking to grab a big ring up on the left here, so he'll be taking the cup, jumping out, hammer twirling, and grabbing the big ring here. Now give him 50 rings, he can transform to Hyper straight away. There is another big ring that I'm pretty sure he collects further on, and it's down at the bottom on the right. So after a little path swapper skip here, usually you take that path swapper, but because Amy's got a hammer jump, you could just jump straight over that. And there is a big ring just up to the right there. Oh, Terravin won't be grabbing that. Clearly quicker not to.
I was about to say maybe some runners will go for that for safety. Maybe Terravin is feeling lucky. Maybe he's feeling like he's got this in the bag. He can afford to show off.
And the first boss of Launch Base 2. And it's a very easy boss, especially when you're hyper. As you can see, you just stand there, he takes damage. And here's a good example of a cutscene skip here. This in the original S3 and S3 and K was a long unskippable cutscene that was especially painful if you took a death from Big Arms.
Speaking of Big Arms, here he comes. Oh lord, oh lord, he
coming. But because they have hyper, Big Arms is very trivial as a boss.
See Terravin waiting for the right time to turn hyper. There's no need to waste any more rings than you have to. After all of that time that is spent counting rings is very easily skippable in this game, which is always nice to see. That hammer jump being utilised very nicely. Be landing the last couple of hits below. There we go. Again, it's resident sleeper zone for HUDs and RPG with the long cutscene, but they'll be on Big Arms soon. And now Terravin is the first into the Sonic and Knuckles section of S3 Air. Again, there's Knuckles. Thank you very much, King. And we pick up a super ring right at the start so that it gives us the rest of the level to go nice and quickly in. I believe Top Route is the most effective in Amy, so that you have all of this time and space to go nice and fast. Taking a couple of loops, not spending too long on that swing at all. It's interesting seeing just how close HUDs and RPG are in terms of their big arms fights. Be interesting to see how they come into the Sonic and Knuckles section of the game. Terravin getting a little bonk from that funny little mushroom badnik. No, that wasn't Mushroom Mike. Or whatever we call them. I don't know, Lakis or no. Terravin is already done with Mushroom Hail. That is very, very nice. As RPG is in the Sonic and Knuckles section, he does a little hammer swing before that cutscene starts so that he gains a little bit of ground. Doesn't save too much time, but it does save a little bit.
Oh, where am I going?
The seasons have changed for Terravin. He uses that nice mushroom bounce to get that spring over. I'm doing very well at the moment. One thing that I do have to say is that although Sonic and Knuckles gave me so much grief when I was younger, the one thing that kept on bringing me back was this level, because I couldn't get out of it when I was younger. But this is just the way that the color palettes change. It's just so, I don't know, something so nice about it. Terravin is hopefully going to have to be, he's going to be both, well, the runners will be trying to skip this little pulley section. The pulley section is made a little bit quicker in air, as the pulleys in the original are very slow. Terravin needing to get a second try on that though. Now for the second stage boss, which again is made very trivial by the quick hits that we can get in before he flies away and the double hit right at the start. I think there's too much differentiation between what our runners do in the start of this stage, so you'll be seeing a lot of similar moves from everyone. At the moment, as it stands, we have got Terravin 1 act ahead. He is in Flying Battery 1. We've got HUDs just started Mushroom Hill 2, and RPG not too far away from the boss as it stands of Mushroom Hill 2. So again, RPG just playing it safe, not trying anything too fancy, using the pulleys. And we were mentioning it in Hydro earlier. There are, as long as you're going fast into this section, the cycles aren't too much of an issue. When it comes to playing with characters that might not be super or hyper, or just Amy in general with her massive jump, it can be a bit of an issue, but it looks like Terravin has done quite nicely with that. HUDs with the pulleys. Everybody, we are, I believe in not too long we will be coming up to seeing the real hero of the Sonic 3 speedruns. I believe it's in the second act or the first, I don't know, I forget. Anyway, so keep an eye out for Spider Steve, who's going to be helping us out later on, I believe in Act 2.
Oh, where am I going?
And now, really creative boss, you know, just this thing that whacks itself on the head, as you do.
Mr.
Eggman
Tickles.
is truly a creative genius. A very stable genius, dare I say. So yeah, there's no fancy initiating slope glitch, which a few of you might have seen in glitched runs of Sonic 3 Air or Sonic 3. A lot of things translate between the two games, so if you're wondering how things sort of differentiate between the game with glitches, a lot of them do translate through, but they have their own sort of unique ways of pulling them off, I suppose. And not everything works between both games, but they do quite well either way. I'm just going to mute myself because I think I'm going to sneeze.
Yeah, so one of the major changes between the classic Sonic 3 and Knuckles, which you would have seen Joey Baby 69 run earlier, and Sonic 3 Air, is that level wraps. Certainly in the glitched run, level wraps have been patched in this, so we can't just skip whole levels by kind of going off the left side of the screen. So in Sonic 3 Air in the glitched run, we have to find another way of doing it. Obviously, this being glitchless, we can't do any of those glitches, although we still have to be careful to avoid them because some are much easier to pull off than you might think. But yeah, here at the moment in Flying Battery 1, so yeah, you would have noticed a bit of a mix between all the runners in terms of how we do these levels. Obviously, the main aim for us is get Hyper Amy as fast as possible. To do that, we need 50 rings, and we can either get 50 rings by collecting them, or we can get 50 rings by getting a big ring. And depending on the level, we have to do it different ways. So Flying Battery 1, as you just saw, we have to take a very specific route to get exactly 50 rings in the Room of Doom.
It's interesting that you mentioned the it's quite hard to avoid glitches. I mean, come on, it is a Sonic game after all. A classic Sonic game. Well, I mean, regardless of classic, all of them are. They have a bit of a reputation, it seems.
They certainly do. I mean, is it really a Sonic game if you can't go through walls, floors, and ceilings, Heavy?
Yeah, if you don't accidentally do it as well. Although, actually, having said that, this has looked pretty clean and pretty valid from all of the runners in terms of avoiding glitches. So they don't want to be doing too much just in case something slips through the cracks. So Terravin on the first part of the Act 2 boss. The lasers, it's another why are you hitting yourself sort of boss. The laser is slowly destroying the flying battery, of course.
Yeah, it's a bit of a recurring theme that you'll see in the second half of this game from Mushroom Hill onwards, that many of the bosses are what we might term as auto-scrollers. So a good majority of them, you kind of don't really have to do much, you're just waiting the whole time. One of the most notorious ones is coming up later in Lava Reef Act 2, and one of the benefits of this preview is they've actually reduced the number of hits required from 14 to 8. So it actually gives us around about 30 seconds of free time save just because we don't have to wait as long. Also, thank you, Spider Steve, for your service.
It does make a world of difference. These few couple of hits that you can save. And it's interesting, it seems like there are quite a few bits in the latest preview that do save time, so it'll be interesting to see how that is utilised with these runners. I don't know, I don't run this game, I only verify through it, so I just assume that they're doing the most. Terravin is now on Sando 1. Dare I mention too much about Sando whilst Huds is here? This is pretty much his child. There's dare I call it a meme? He might start attacking me if I call it a meme.
You can call it a meme if you want.
I'm gonna call it a meme. So Sando 1, it was found. Actually, why is Sando 1 a thing? Go on, Huds. Give us your insight. You have a lot of time to talk whilst you're waiting for an auto-scroller to happen.
Sando 1. So when I first started speedrunning Sonic 3 Air, I hadn't really learned the game. I just went into runs, and it's a game I never completed. And Sandopolis 1 proved to be one of the most difficult levels for me. It took me 8 attempts to actually complete it in a single run. And from that, it just became a bit of a meme in my chat, and that then turned into me deciding to turn that into an actual speedrun called the Sando 8, where effectively we run Sandopolis Act 1 8 times in a row. It's now an official run on the speedrun leaderboards for the category extensions, and we also have a version of it called the Sando 100, which is, as you may have guessed, run Sandopolis Act 1 100 times in a row. So Sando is very dear to my heart. It's a very technical level. It's a highly technical level. It really tests a runner to see just how good they are. You have to do a lot of combinations of different kind of movement.
Rose-tinted glasses, everybody. It's not really that good. And the reason why I say that, if you have a look at how Terravin is doing at the moment, he's onto the boss of this stage. Everything else is sort of... it is very technical. There are a lot of cycles, and you know how much Huds likes his cycles, but when it comes to the end of the stage, it's fairly... Well, I mean, the bosses in this half of the game are kind of monotonous, so... Terravin could have done that a little bit quicker, but I don't think he'll mind too much. He will be going on to Sando 2, and this is where things get a little more funky. This stage gets a little more interesting with its colours, and we will have the mechanic with the ghosts. So you'll see a lot of levers around that Amy can hang on to, and there are a lot of, I don't know, I wouldn't call them levers because that would confuse things again, but little things that the runners have got to push to open doors. So they've got to be making sure that they do that long enough so that they can creep through the doors, and making sure that they hit the light switches every so often so that the ghosts don't start attacking them. Although with Hyper, it isn't really much of an issue, so they can just go straight through if they need to. Now a nice deep purple for Terravin. I am very much a fan of the colour purple, so this stage, as much as people say, like, there's a general hatred for this stage, but I think it looks pretty, so it takes my vote in this one. Although having said that, I will speedrun a game if it plays horribly, but it looks and sounds very nice.
So I'd say there's definitely a general love for Sando Act 2 amongst the Amy runners, because of the fact we don't have to wait for any of the sand with Amy because her hyper hammer jump is so overpowered. It actually makes it a really fun level to run. Just non-stop, fast as you can platforming.
Everything is very, very tight in this game. So, well, especially in Sando 2. So Terravin, again, bosses become very trivial when it comes to using the hyper form. So Terravin did very nicely with that boss. And he will be moving on to Lava Reef Zone next. Again, another cutscene to skip. And on to Lava Reef. Now, Lava Reef is I'd say, I don't know, it depends on your personal preference. Like, I think that this is one of the more fun stages when it comes to glitched, because there are a few, like, neat little tricks that you can do, sort of just phasing through the floor very, very smoothly, and yeah, just unique little tricks here and there. But in Glitchless, you get to see it in its full beauty, and you get to properly listen to it. I know that the music that we are hearing right now is the enhanced music pack on huds601's game, so that should sound very nice. I'm sure Lava Reef is in all its splendor when it comes to when he's on the stage.
The Lava Reef was notorious, and you may have seen actually during the GDQ hotfix run, all of the runners being very careful near the end of Lava Reef 1 to slow down for a particular section. It was notorious for always crashing the game. Effectively, if you went too fast, the game would literally crash and hard lock. Thankfully, one of the best things about this preview, aside from the free time save for the speedrunners, is that a lot of those crashes that were caused by some memory issues have all been fixed. So there was one in Marble Garden 2 that was notorious right near the boss room. There was one in Lava Reef 1, and the famous competition mode warp has all now been patched out. So there's no danger from the runners. We can go as fast as we like, and so far at least, we haven't found anything that will crash the game.
I mean, we would say that. We would probably fully expect Terravin to find something in
no doubt.
Bad fortune.
No doubt.
Because he's got a bit of a reputation at this point, so...
But yeah, shout outs to Eukaryote and all of the staff team over at the Sonic 3 Air Discord for making not just a fantastic game, but for continuing to work on it, continuing to add new features and patch it up as well. The speedrunning community are very, very grateful to all the work they put in.
Yes, sir. So Amy has dealt with Lava Reef 1 on Terravin's end. HUDS and RPG still very close when it comes to where they are in their runs. Almost in sync. But one thing that you can do, I mentioned this in the GDQ run and I think I was wrong, but one thing that either used to be applicable or isn't applicable in this run is that you can skip having to do this level by just returning to the last checkpoint, and the checkpoint brings you out just in front of the Lava Reef 1 boss. You just do that boss again and then you skip this. You don't have to do the second act, but you'd be missing out on this lovely scenery, a good song, and a bubble sheet. Let's see where they are now, HUDS and RPG. Oh, it is very tight between the two. Ooh! The there's some sync going on. There is some sync going on. I am very much enjoying how these two are getting on. I'm also keeping a close eye on Terravin. Terravin is making, let's say flying battery. It's definitely not flying battery. Lava Reef 2 look like a cakewalk. Just looks so easy. It's going to be taking this little secret route, hitting the door. Very nicely done. Love pack teach.
Sorry about that.
It's alright.
So, what some of you may have heard, certainly on because you're hearing my game audio, is that all of the sound effects have been replaced. So one of the great things about Sonic 3 Air is that you can modify the game. It supports mods, and you can do music mods. And RPG Hidden Wizard, you can see there at the bottom, made a wonderful music mod for the game called the Colin Enhancement Pack. And he has replaced every single sound effect with his voice. And so, yeah, if you're hearing things that sound a little bit different from what you'd expect from a Sonic game, that's why. It's very popular amongst the speedrunners. We enjoy it, and it adds a little bit of fun to the run.
I hope you saw the sync that we've I think still got going on with RPG and HUDs. It is looking very tight between the two.
Yeah. Very, very close runners, the pair of them. I did notice the sync. Unfortunately, I couldn't pay too much attention at the time. Terravin still steaming ahead.
Oh no.
Oh, and that's a crush death.
Oh, HUDs.
I went
Tragedy.
for it. I went for it, and I shouldn't have gone for it.
I was going for the big boy moves there, and it didn't pay off.
The second place is very much RPGs to lose now, so HUDs is going to be taking, dare we say, about 20-30 seconds potentially. Gap between the two. Terravin, it's another auto-scroller boss, but as we mentioned earlier, as HUDs mentioned, it is a little bit quicker due to this new preview, so yeah,
Well, unfortunately, you don't get to see so much thrilling gameplay.
Ending on 104 rings, hitting the capsule, very, very nice. This is a really good run by Terravin.
And now we're going to see another appearance from our king on Terravin's screen. Unfortunately, you know, if you guys want to avert your eyes, you're about to see some serious Knuckles abuse.
What a strapping red gentleman. I sure hope that Terravin treats him like a good man.
Terravin won't. Oh no. Serious Knuckles abuse right now. No, I can't watch. I can't look.
We don't advocate this, right? Me and Tej are gonna boycott. That HUDs can commentate the rest of this. No, it is sadly a necessity in this run. They could have modded it for any other character this lot, but no, they obviously have something against us. We are an oppressed fan group.
We are.
But I mean, suffering from success really, because Knuckles is the best. So
He is, yeah.
Terravin
Knuckles
is
made
now.
good time coming, catching back up to RPG there.
Yeah, closing it a little bit.
Yeah.
Interesting. Terravin making use of that fast forward. It always looks very funny.
If you guys want to avert your gaze to RPG's camera right now, you can see he is looking very swag.
I say all this lava, it's getting a bit hot in here, don't you think? Get a little bit
Screen
of a
does get
tan
very
on.
bright. It does get very bright, you know. Catch some rays. Treat yourself on. Well, whilst those two are getting a nice tan, ready for the summer, Terravin is up in the sky. He is in Sky Sanctuary. And as you can see, this stage is very vertically based. It reminds me of Knuckles' Chaotix.
Terravin's movement is almost flawless.
Yeah, it's
For this
very,
stage.
very swoosh.
So using Amy's movement there combined with the hyper, you can skip two of the bosses that you would usually have to fight, which are little Easter eggs of a Sonic 1 Green Hill boss fight and Sonic 2 Metropolis boss fight, respectively.
Interestingly, as the two runners, HUDs and RPG, were donning the sunglasses, it's obviously got a little bit cold for Terravin up in space, so he's donned the hat. The I don't know what character that is. Somebody's going to shoot me in the chat.
I'm not sure either, but clearly that hat gives Terravin his power.
Somebody will correct me. Somebody should correct me. If anybody knows, then lend me your wisdom. But he is on...
Like, Terravin losing his lightning shield there, this is going to make things a little bit more difficult. Because now he's going to have to work extra hard in keeping his rings and making sure he has enough rings for when he faces Red Eye, or that would be a very difficult fight.
So just to point out what's on my screen at the moment, this Hidden Palace cutscene, we used to have to sit through pretty much all of it, and now it can be fully skipped. And as we go into Sky Sanctuary, the beginning 20-second cutscene with Knuckles as well can also now be fully skipped.
It's very funny.
So just here.
Especially Amy floating near the end. We are getting reports that it is Sylveon. Thank you very much, everybody. Terravin looking very dashing in the Sylveon. I hope I'm saying that right, probably not.
Terravin
has now
opting to
got
get
the
those ring
needed.
boxes. He won't need them.
Should be fine. Yeah, there we go. Amy's hammer. Unbelievable weapon. Unbelievable. Oh wow, what a boss strat. That's incredible. Funny animations. I love that.
131 Death Egg 1 from Terravin, not a bad time at all.
Very good. Be interesting to see if he can make it look just as smooth in the second act.
Hudson RPG looking just too cool for school right now. Taking being in second and third place respectively in stride.
Terravin, now on Death Egg 2, you'll see a whole load of... There's a whole load of... I'm gonna say it, it's so cliche, but space. There is this game, this level is very open, despite the fact that it's supposedly on like quite a like compact metal like Death Egg. So
supposedly these small creatures can breathe in space as well. The game will have you believe.
And yeah, Sonic can't swim. Unbelievable. So yeah, you'll see sections where there's just a whole load of nothing. One thing that Amy can do here is a nice little... Brilliant. So that was a skip that sort of saves quite a lot of time having to maneuver around on a different route, and I don't know what character ends up using it, but...
Tails.
Yeah, there we go. So Amy, yeah, just making light work of things. RPG, done Red Eye. Oh, actually, no, not yet. It's on to the second phase. No, it probably is now. Some of them a bit behind.
Terravin onto Uwu Ball,
Uwu.
as we like to call it.
It do make that Uwu sound though.
Hopefully,
Later on when Huds gets there.
hopefully he doesn't do a HUDs and die to this boss.
It's interesting, I was having a look at the task for the original game the other day, and this boss is very, very amusing when it comes to how you can play around with it. But as you can see, they've got a tried and tested format where they wait on each side and do a spin dash to drop the little spiky boys to hit Eggman. Well, to hit Uwu.
The Terravin onto the first stage of the final boss, and that just involves spin dashing between these two sets of fingers here. The optimal cycle is doing it 3 times, but sometimes it doesn't always work out like that. Oh, and Terravin gets the 3 cycle fingers.
Very nice.
And now he'll be using Amy's Hammer Twirl here to get multiple hits on... Oh, and that was so cleanly done. And the last stage of this boss, you just hit him as he flies away. And because we're playing as Amy and not Sonic, there won't be a Doomsday Zone.
1, 2, and that is a GG for Terravin.
Huge GG's for Terravin.
GG's Terravin.
That was effectively a 44, low 44, dare I say almost 43. So that could quite have been a world record. We are getting information from Terravin that could be a world record. He knows how to do it on a marathon, I tell you. So it'll be interesting to see. I think he needs to have a little look over because there might have been a glitch somewhere. But hey, big GG's. But we have got a close end of the race for 2nd/3rd place. So Huds and RPG both on Uweeble. Huds has got a little more to deal with. Anything can happen on the final boss, so RPG is certainly not safe yet.
Anything can happen, it'll probably be me dying. It seems to be a marathon favourite of mine at the moment.
More likely than you think.
Can we see if we can get confirmation from Terravin on what his time was?
We can certainly try.
He's not looking into it. 44:07.
Supposedly.
Assuming he didn't glitch, I make that a 27-second world record.
Hey.
Are we getting confirmation on the glitch? Terravin.
And even if there was a glitch in that, supposedly that is a glitch world record as well. Even without all of the tricks. Oh no, RPG with a death! Oh, this has just blown the game wide open. Huds, no pressure, lad.
Thanks.
No pressure, and one thing that also does do for RPG is that he has 0 rings, so he's going into this hyperless, so he can't afford to do
he's taking another death. Oh no. Luckily, he has 53 more lives, so hopefully he doesn't game over.
I'd say that would be a little embarrassing. But Hud's coming up to the end. He's just got to land a couple of hits on Eggman here as he flies away with the Master Emerald. We can't be letting them get away.
Unfortunately, Terravin can't tell if he actually glitched or not.
And that is Hud's finished, and he's finished with the funny animation. You love to see it. Everybody keep an eye on how the end of this cutscene finishes, because it's very amusing. But GG's on second place, Huds.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And everybody, give your energy to RPG. It was a very tight race for second place. So let's see how he plays it safe, hyperless, on the last boss.
And now all RPG has to do is just spin dash into the boss once, spin dash jump again, and then just keep hitting him as he flies away, getting the occasional hit with a hammer twirl as well. Hopefully he doesn't fall off on the left there.
Ooh, that was tight.
And that is GG's for RPG as well.
Very nice. Everybody, I hope you kept a loose eye on Huds' screen as well with the funny Amy animation. You might see it again later, but
RPG is also doing it.
Nice. You love to see it. You really do love to see it.
Congratulations to Terravin on